Hello, welcome to our channel Learn to Score. In this video, I am going to solve exercise 3 of quadratic equations chapter of 10th class mathematics. I hope you will like the video. Please subscribe to our channel for regular updates. Thank you. Question number 1 is find the roots of the following quadratic equations if they exist by the method of completing the square. We are given total 4 equations. We are asked to find the roots of those equations if the roots exist. Right? If the roots exist, we have to find them using method of completing the square. Right? To find whether roots exist for a given equation or not, we have to quickly recall nature of roots. Right? We learned that for ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, the quadratic formula defines the roots as x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Right? If you're given ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, the quadratic formula defines the roots of the equation as x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? And we also learned that b square minus 4ac is the discriminant of quadratic equation, because based on the value of this particular expression b square minus 4ac, you can say that whether roots exist or not, if exist, whether they are real or not, these kind of things we can say, right? That's why b square minus 4ac is called a discriminant of the quadratic equation. Now let's quickly recall what happens to the roots when b square minus 4ac is greater than 0. When b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, the equation is going to have two distinct real roots. It means equation will have two real roots and their values are different. Got it? When b square minus 4ac is equal to 0, the equation will have real roots, but they are equal in their value, right? When b square minus 4ac is less than 0, we learned that equation has no real roots. Please note this. Now, when we are solving the problem, what we would be looking for is whether b square minus 4ac is greater than 0 or equal to 0. In both these scenarios, we'll have real roots, right? If b square minus 4ac is less than 0, then the equation is not going to have real roots. Then we don't need to solve further. In first two cases, we have to solve the equations using completing the square method such that we can get the roots. Got it? Let's go back to the problem. And the first problem is 2x square plus x minus 4 equal to 0, right? When you see this equation, you say that quotient of x square is 2, right? That is a, b is 1, and c is equal to minus 4. When you compare the given equation with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, you say that a equal to 2, b equal to 1, and c equal to minus 4, right? Now let's find the value of b square minus 4ac. b square minus 4ac is 1 square minus 4 times 2 times minus 4, right? This is a, this is c. When you simplify this, you get it as 1 plus 32. When you multiply minus 4 times 2 times minus 4, you get 32. That's why this is 1 plus 32, that is equal to 33. 33 is a positive number. That's why it is greater than 0. It means b square minus 4ac is greater than 0. Hence, the equation 2x square plus x minus 4 equal to 0 is going to have two distinct real roots. Let's find those real roots using completing square method now, right? As you see here, 2 is the quotient of x square, right? For that reason, what we are going to do is we are going to divide each term of the equation with number 2 so that the quotient of x square becomes 1. You divide each term with number 2. When you do that, the quotient of x square is going to become 1, right? Now the equation becomes x square plus x by 2 minus 2 equal to 0, right? Let me rearrange this equation such that I can write it as x square plus x by 2 equal to 2. What I have done, I have transposed this minus 2 to the other side so that it becomes plus 2 here. X square plus x by 2 equal to 2 is the equation we have, right? Now, let us add something to this side of both the sides of the equation such that the left hand side of the equation becomes a complete square. For that, what we have to add is what we have to first identify, right? For that, let's make use of a plus b whole square formula, that is written as a square plus 2ab plus b square, right? Let me take this plus b square to the other side. When I do that, I can write a square plus 2ab equal to a plus b whole square minus b square, right? Now look at this. I have x square plus x by 2. Here I have a square plus 2ab. Let's compare these two. When you want to compare, it looks here you have 2ab, here you have only one term, right? Let me rearrange this expression such that I can write it as x square plus 2 times x times 1 by 4. What I have done, I have multiplied this term with 2 and divided the term with 2. That's why I have 2 times x times 1 by 4, right? This is x by 2. When you divide that with 2, it becomes x by 4. I have written this as x times 1 by 4. And I have multiplied with 2. That's why it is here. Now you can compare a square plus 2ab with x square plus 2 times x times 1 by 4. When you compare, you say that a equal to x and b equal to 1 by 4, right? Now let's substitute a equal to x and b equal to 1 by 4 into this equation. When you do that, it becomes x square plus x by 2 equal to x plus 1 by 4 whole square minus 1 by 4 whole square, right? Let me write that. X plus 1 by 4 whole square minus 1 by 4 whole square. This 1 by 4 whole square can be written as 1 by 16, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transpose this 1 by 16 to the other side. When you do that arrangement, the equation becomes x square plus x by 2 plus 1 by 16 equal to x plus 1 by 4 whole square, right? Now look at this equation. Compare with, you look at the left hand side of the equation and left hand side of this equation. You see x square plus x by 2 is here. Same is here, right? But when you add this plus 1 by 16, this is becoming complete square, right? X plus 1 by 4 whole square. Now this tells you that we have to add 1 by 16 to both the sides of this equation, right? When you add 1 by 16 to both the sides of this equation, it becomes x square plus x by 2 plus 1 by 16 equal to 2 plus 1 by 16, right? This is clear. X square plus x by 2 plus 1 by 16 is x plus 1 by 4 whole square, right? Now let's find the value of this. This is 2 by 1 plus 1 by 16. This can be written as 16, 2 times 16 plus 1 times 1, right? Let me write that so that the equation now can be written as x plus 1 by 4 whole square equal to 33 divided by 16, right? Now if I drop this square, then what happens? X plus 1 by 4 is going to be equal to square root of 33 divided by 16, right? I can write square root separately to the numerator and denominator, right? In that case, what happens is it becomes square root of 33 divided by square root of 16, right? Square root of 16 is 4. That's what I have written here. X plus 1 by 4 equal to plus or minus square root of 33 divided by 4, right? Now I can transpose this plus 1 by 4 to the other side so that it becomes x equal to minus 1 by 4 plus or minus root 33 divided by 4, right? When I use only this plus symbol, x is going to be minus 1 plus square root of 33 divided by 4, right? I have used only plus symbol here. And when I use minus symbol, it is going to be minus 1 minus root 33 divided by 4, right? So to answer the question, the two roots of the given equation are minus 1 plus root 33 by 4 and minus 1 minus root 33 by 4. These are the roots of 2x square plus x minus 4 equal to 0. Understood? Now let's look at the second part of the problem. 4x square plus 4 root 3x plus 3 equal to 0. What we have to do, whether this particular equation has roots or not, we have to find first, right? If roots exist, then we are going to make use of completing square method, right? To understand whether this equation has roots or not, we have to find the value of b square minus 4ac, right? For that, let me write what are ABC. When you compare this particular equation with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, then you say that a equal to 4, b equal to 4 root 3 and c equal to 3, right? Let's find the value of b square minus 4ac, that is 4 root 3 whole square minus 4 times 4 times 3. This is a, this is c, right? Now I can write 4 root 3 whole square as 4 square times root 3 whole square, right? It means I can write it as 16 times 3. This is 4 square is 16 and square root 3 whole square is 3, right? And this is 4 times 4 times 3, 16 times 3, that is equal to 48. That's why you have 16 times 3 minus 48. 16 times 3 is 48. 48 minus 48 equal to 0. Now we got b square minus 4ac equal to 0. It means the equation has real roots, but they are equal. Let's find those roots now. For that, we are going to use completing square method, right? In the completing square method, the first thing is you have to look at what is the quotient of x square. Here it is 4. For that reason, we are going to divide each term of the equation with number 4 so that quotient of x square becomes 1, right? It means I'm going to divide each term with. When you do that, the equation becomes x square plus root 3x plus 3 by 4 equal to 0, right? Let me rearrange this equation such that I can take this plus 3 by 4 to the other side. When I do that, the equation becomes x square plus root 3x equal to minus 3 by 4. This is standard format we are doing for the method of completing square, right? Now, we want to understand what should be added to both the sides of the equation such that left hand side of the equation becomes a complete square, right? For that, I'm going to make use of a plus b whole square formula. That is, when rearranged, it can be written as a square plus 2ab equal to a plus b whole square minus b square, right? Now let's look at this left hand side of the equation and the left hand side of this equation. Let us compare. When you want to compare, here you have 2ab, here you have only one term, right? It is looking a bit difficult to figure out. For that reason, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this particular expression as x square plus 2 times x times root 3 by 2. What I have done is I have multiplied with 2 and divided the term with 2, right? Now you can compare this part with a square plus 2ab. When you do that, when you make comparison, a is going to be x and b is going to be root 3 by 2, right? Now let me write this equation. Since we know a is equal to x and b equal to root 3 by 2, let me write a square plus 2ab. When I substitute x and root 3 by 2 into that, the equation becomes x square plus root 3x equal to x plus root 3 by 2 whole square. This is a plus b whole square minus root 3 by 2 whole square, right? Let me write this. This equation, when you see, I can take this part to the other side, right? Actually, this is root 3 by 2 whole square, meaning it is going to be 3 by 4, right? Let me take 3 by 4 to the other side so that LHS can be written as x square plus root 3x plus 3 by 4, that is equal to x plus root 3 by 2 whole square, right? Now compare these two equations, LHS of these two equations. It says that when you add plus 3 by 4 to LHS of this, you got it as complete square, right? It suggests you that we have to add 3 by 4 to the both the sides of the equation here. When you add plus 3 by 4 to this equation, this becomes x square plus root 3 by 3x plus 3 by 4, that is equal to minus 3 by 4 plus 3 by 4, right? We know this is going to be equal to x plus root 3 by 2 whole square. And RHS is going to be 0 because this is minus 3 by 4 and this is plus 3 by 4. When you cancel them, you get 0. Now, x plus root 3 by 2 equal to 0. That can be written as x plus root 3 by 2 equal to 0, right? This square, when you take to the other side, actually it is going to be root of this particular 0. That's going to be anyway 0. X plus root 3 by 2 equal to 0 is the equation we have. It means x equal to minus root 3 by 2, right? To answer the question, minus root 3 by 2 is the root of the given equation 4x square plus 4 root 3x plus 3 equal to 0. Got it? Now let's look at the third part of the problem, that is 5x square minus 7x minus 6 equal to 0. First, we have to find whether roots exist for this particular equation or not. For that, what we have to do, we have to find the value of b square minus 4ac, right? Let's find the value of b square minus 4ac. To do that, let me see what are values of a, b and c. For that, I'm going to compare the given equation with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. So that I can say a equal to 5, b equal to minus 7 and c equal to minus 6, right? Now let's find the value of b square minus 4ac. That is going to be minus 7 whole square minus 4 times a, that is 5, times c, that is minus 6, right? When you simplify this, you can write it as minus 7 square equal to 49. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 6 is minus 120. 20 times minus 6 is minus 120. And when you multiply with this minus, you get it as plus 120. So you have b square minus 4ac equal to 169, which is greater than 0, right? And we know that when b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, the equation is going to have two distinct real roots. Let's find them now using completing square method. For the completing square method, the quotient of x square has to be 1, right? For that reason, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide each term of the equation with 5 such that the quotient of x square is going to become 1. When you do that, the equation can be written as x square minus 7 by 5x minus 6 by 5 equal to 0, right? Let me rearrange this equation such that I can take this minus 6 by 5 to the other side. So equation is now written as x square minus 7x by 5 equal to 6 by 5, right? Let's find what should be added to this such that the left hand side term is going to be complete square, right? For that, I'm going to make use of the formula a minus b whole square here. The reason for selecting minus b whole square, a minus b whole square, is we have minus symbol here. In the earlier cases, we were having positive symbol, that's why positive sign, that's why we have used a plus b whole square. Here, since it is negative sign, we are going to use a minus b whole square formula. That is written as a square minus 2ab plus b square, right? If you transpose this plus b square, the equation can be now written as a square minus 2ab equal to a minus b whole square minus b square, right? Now let's compare this part of the equation with this part of the equation. When you do that, since it is not easy, let me rearrange it and write it as x square minus 7x by 5 equal to x square minus 2 times x times 7 by 10. What I have done, I have multiplied with number 2 and divided the term with number 2, right? Now we can make comparison straightforward. No, a square minus 2ab and x square minus 2x times 7 by 10. When you compare, you say that a equal to x and b equal to 7 by 10, right? Let's substitute these two values into this particular equation. When you do that, the equation becomes x square minus 7x by 5 equal to x minus 7 by 10 whole square minus 7 by 10 whole square, right? 7 by 10 whole square is 49 by 100, right? Now, let's take a note of this. And I can take this 49 by 100 to the other side, so that the equation is now written as x square minus 7x by 5 plus 49, right? You have x square minus 7x by 5 here, and I brought 49 by 100 this side, minus 49 by 100, so that it has become plus 49 by 100. So now that is equal to x minus 7 by 10 whole square. Now observe this. We have LHS, that is x square minus 7x by 5. Here we have the same, right? When you add 49 by 100 to x square minus 7x by 5, it has become complete square, right? X minus 7 by 10 whole square. This suggests that we have to add 49 by 100 to both the sides of this equation. Let's add that. When you add, the equation becomes x square minus 7x by 5 plus 49 by 100 equal to 6 by 5 plus 49 by 100, right? Now, you look at this. This is equal to x minus 7 by 10 whole square, right? What is the value of this? Let's find that. 6 by 5 plus 49 by 100 can be written as, LCM is 100. 6 times 20, right? 100 divided by 5 is 20. 6 times 20 plus 49 times 1. Let's write that and simplify such that it can be written as 120 plus 49 by 100, that is equal to 169 by 100. Now the equation you have is x minus 7 by 10 whole square equal to 169 by 100, right? When you take this square to the other side, this becomes x minus 7 by 10 equal to square root of 169 by 100, right? I can write it as square root of 169 divided by square root of 100 also. When you do that, square root of 169 is plus or minus 13 and square root of 100 is plus or minus 10. Right? That's why I have written the equation as x minus 7 by 10 equal to plus or minus 13 by 10. Got it? Now I can transpose this minus 7 by 10 to the other side. When you do that, the equation becomes x equal to 7 by 10 plus or minus 13 by 10, right? I can write it, since the denominator is 10, I can write the equation as x equal to 7 plus or minus 13 divided by 10, right? The LCM of these two fractions is 10. That's why you can write it and in the simplified form as x equal to 7 plus or minus 13 divided by 10, right? Now I can take plus sign once and I can take minus sign once, right? When you take plus sign, x is going to be 7 plus 13 by 10, that is 20 by 10, that is equal to 2. When you take minus sign here, x is going to be 7 minus 13 divided by 10, that is going to be minus 6 by 10, that is equal to minus 3 by 5. So to answer the question, 2 and minus 3 by 5 are the roots of the given equation. Got it? Let's look at the next part of the problem. That is x square plus 5 equal to minus 6x, right? Let me rearrange this equation by transposing minus 6x to the other side. The equation can be written as x square plus 6x plus 5 equal to 0. We want to find whether roots exist for this particular equation or not, the real roots. To do that, we have to find the value of b square minus 4ac, right? For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare this particular equation first with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, such that I can say a equal to 1, b equal to 6 and c equal to 5. Let us substitute ABC values into b square minus 4ac such that we can find the value of b square minus 4ac, right? B square is 6 square minus 4 times a is 1 times c is 5. When you simplify this, you say that this is 36 minus 20, that is equal to 16. B square minus 4ac is greater than 0, right? 16 is a positive number. That's why b square minus 4ac is greater than 0. The equation is going to have two distinct real roots. We have to find them using method of completing square, right? Let's do that now. Here the quotient of x square is already 1, so we don't need to really worry, right? Now I'm going to transpose this plus 5 to the other side, so that the equation is written now as x square plus 6x equal to minus 5, right? Now let me compare this with a square plus 2ab, right? When you compare, let me expand x square plus 6x as x square plus 2x times 3, right? Now you compare this with a square plus 2ab. When you do that, you say that a equal to x and b equal to 3, right? Let's substitute a equal to x and b equal to 3 into this equation. When you do that, the equation becomes x square plus 6x equal to x plus 3 whole square minus 3 square, right? This minus 3 square can be written as minus 9, right? What you have now is x square plus 6x equal to x plus 3 whole square minus 9, right? Now if you take this minus 9 to the other side, this becomes plus 9. That's why you have x square plus 6x plus 9, right? That is equal to x plus 3 whole square. Now look at this. Look at LHS of this equation and these two terms. Both are same, right? X square plus 6x. But when you add plus 9 to this, you have complete square in terms of x plus 3 whole square, right? It says that you have to add plus 9 to both the sides of this particular equation. When you add 9 to both the sides of the equation, it becomes x square plus 6x plus 9 equal to minus 5 plus 9, right? We know x square plus 6x plus 9 equal to x plus 3 whole square. Let's write that x plus 3 whole square equal to 4. Now I can take this 2 or power 2 to the other side such that I can write x plus 3 equal to square root of 4. Square root of 4 is equal to plus or minus 2. X plus 3 equal to plus or minus 2. Now I can transpose this 3 to the other side. When you do that, x is going to be minus 3 plus or minus 2, right? So x can be written as minus 3 plus 2. It means x equal to minus 1. And if I take the negative symbol here, then it is going to be x equal to minus 3 minus 2, that is equal to minus 5, right? To answer the question, the roots are minus 1 and minus 5. Got it? Question number 2 is find the roots of the quadratic equations given in question number 1 above by applying the quadratic formula. We have to use quadratic formula to find the roots of the quadratic equations given in question number 1, right? What are those equations? We have 4 equations. We have to find the roots of these equations using quadratic formula. Let's start with the first one. 2x square plus x minus 4 equal to 0. The quadratic formula is written as x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? To get the value of x using the quadratic formula, first we have to know what are the values of a, b, c. For that, let me compare 2x square plus x minus 4 equal to 0 with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. When you do that, you say that a equal to 2, b equal to 1 and c equal to minus 4, right? Let's substitute these values into this formula. When you do that, you can write x equal to minus 1, that is minus b, plus or minus square root of b square, that is 1 square, minus 4 times a, times c, right, divided by 2a, 2 times 2. Let us simplify this so that I can write it as minus 1 as is, plus or minus square root of 1, this is 1 square, minus 4 times 2 times minus 4 equal to plus 32. Now what you have is minus 1 plus or minus square root of 1 plus 32 divided by 4, right? That can be now written as minus 1 plus or minus square root of 33 divided by 4. Got it? I can use the positive sign. In that case, x can be written as minus 1 plus square root of 33 divided by 4, right? I can use the negative sign here, right? In that case, x is going to be minus 1 minus root 33 divided by 4. So to answer the question, minus 1 plus root 33 by 4 and minus 1 minus root 33 by 4 are the roots of 2x square plus x minus 4 equal to 0. Got it? Now let's look at the second part of the problem. That is 4x square plus 4 root 3x plus 3 equal to 0. Let's find the roots of this equation using quadratic formula. That is x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? Let's find what are the values of a, b, c. This is going to be a, this is going to be b, and this is going to be c, right? A equal to 4, b equal to 4 root 3, and c equal to 3. Let's substitute these values into the quadratic formula such that I can write it as x equal to minus 4 root 3. This is minus b plus or minus, this is minus b plus or minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? When you simplify this, I have kept minus 4 root 3 as is, plus or minus, this is 4 square plus root 3 whole square, right? That can be written as 16 times 3 minus 4 times 3 equal to 48, right? You have now 8 in the denominator. Let's simplify this further such that I can write it as minus 4 root 3 plus or minus 48 under root 48 minus 48 divided by 8. This can get cancelled, right? It means I'll have x equal to minus 4 root 3 plus or minus 0 divided by 8, right? I can cancel this 4 and 4 here so that I can write it as minus root 3 by 2, x equal to minus root 3 by 2. Got it? So to answer the question, minus root 3 by 2 is the root of the given equation 4x square plus 4 root 3x plus 3 equal to 0. Got it? Let's look at the next part of the problem, that is 5x square minus 7x minus 6 equal to 0. When you want to find roots of this equation using quadratic formula, we have to know what are the values of a, b, and c, right? For that, we are going to compare the given equation with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, such that we can write a equal to 5, b equal to minus 7, and c equal to minus 6, right? Let's substitute these values into the quadratic formula so that I can write quadratic formula as x equal to minus of minus 7, that is minus b, plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Let's simplify that. Minus times minus 7 is plus 7, right? We have kept plus or minus as is. Square root of minus 7 square is 49, right? This is 4 times 5 times minus 6 minus 4 times 5 times minus 6 is plus 120, right? 2 times 5 is 10. Now let's further simplify this such that I can write it as 7 plus or minus square root of 169. 49 plus 120 is 169, right? Divided by 10. Square root of 169 is 13. So we have x equal to 7 plus or minus 13 divided by 10, right? Let me write x equal to 7 plus 13 divided by 10. I have used only this plus symbol here. When you do that, it is going to be 20 by 10, that is equal to 2, x equal to 2. Now let me use the negative sign here. When you do that, x is going to be 7 minus 13 divided by 10, that is minus 6 by 10, that is equal to minus 3 by 5, right? So to answer the question, 2 and minus 3 by 5 are the roots of the given equation. Got it? Now let's solve the last part of the problem, that is x square plus 5 equal to minus 6x, right? I can take this minus 6x to the other side so that the equation can be written as x square plus 6x plus 5 equal to 0. We want to find the roots of this equation using quadratic formula. For that, first we have to see what are the values of a, b and c, right? When you compare this equation with ax square plus bx plus c, you say a equal to 1, b equal to 6 and c equal to 5, right? Let me write that. We can substitute these values into the quadratic formula. When you do that, you can write x equal to minus 6 plus or minus square root of 6 square minus 4 times 1 times 5 divided by 2 times 1, right? This is minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Let's simplify this such that I can write it as minus 6 plus or minus square root of 36. This is 6 square is 36 minus 4 times 5 is 20 divided by 2 times 1 is 2. When you simplify this further, I can write it as minus 6 plus or minus square root of 16 divided by 2. Square root of 16 is equal to 4, right? You have minus 6 plus or minus 4 divided by 2 as the value of x. I can take the plus sign in between minus 6 and 4 such that I can write it as x equal to minus 6 plus 4 divided by 2, that is minus 2 by 2, that is equal to minus 1. The other option is I can take this minus symbol. When you take this minus sign, the x is going to be minus 6 minus 4 divided by 2, that is minus 10 by 2, that is equal to minus 5, right? So to answer the question, 1 and minus 5 are the roots of the given equation x square plus 5 equal to minus 6x. Got it? Question number 3 is find the roots of the following equations. We are given two equations. We are asked to find roots of these two equations, right? Let's start with the first one, that is x minus 1 by x equal to 3. Here the requirement is given x cannot be equal to 0, right? It means if x equal to 0, then this 1 by x has no meaning. That's why this condition is given, x is not equal to 0. But to solve this particular equation, we don't really need to worry about this. We can say that x minus 1 by x equal to 3 is the equation we have to solve, right? To do that, first let me simplify the left hand side expression. That can be written as x by 1 minus 1 by x, right? X is going to be the LCM. Now let me write this x as is x times x divided by 1, that is 1 minus this one is written as is, and this x divided by this x, that is equal to 1, right? Now let me write this x times, sorry, this is x times x minus 1 times 1 divided by x equal to 3. X times x is x square minus 1 times 1 is minus 1 divided by x equal to 3. Let's write that x square minus 1 by x equal to 3. I can write it as 3 by 1, right? So that I can do cross multiplication. When I do cross multiplication, it becomes x square minus 1 equal to 3 times x, right? X square minus 1 times 1, that's what I have written, x square minus 1 here, that is equal to 3 times x, that is 3x. Now let me transpose this 3x to this side so that the equation becomes x square minus 3x minus 1 equal to 0. We have to find the roots of this particular equation, right? For that, we can make use of quadratic formula, that is x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? When you want to get the roots using quadratic formula, first we have to know what are the values of a, b and c, right? For that, let me compare this equation with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. When you do that, you say that a equal to 1, b equal to minus 3, and c equal to minus 1. A equal to 1, b equal to minus 3, and c equal to minus 1, right? Let's substitute these values into the quadratic formula such that I can write x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2 times a, right? This can be simplified and written as minus times minus 3 is plus 3, and this minus 3 whole square is plus 9, right, under root, and minus 4 times 1 times minus 1 is plus 4, divided by 2 times 1 equal to 2, right? 3 plus or minus square root of 13 divided by 2 is the value of x, right? We can take plus sign and minus sign separately so that you have two values for x. First, let me write with positive sign, that is x equal to 3 plus square root of 13 divided by 2. When you use minus sign, it becomes x equal to 3 minus square root of 13 divided by 2. So to answer the question, 3 plus root 13 by 2 and 3 minus root 13 by 2 are the roots of x minus 1 by x equal to 3. Got it? Now let's look at the second part of the problem, that is 1 by x plus 4 minus 1 by x minus 7 equal to 11 by 30. First we have to simplify LHS, right? Let me do that. For that, the denominator is going to be simply the product of x plus 4 and x minus 7, right? Now let me write this one as is and divide the LCM or the denominator here with this denominator. What you will have? X minus 7, right? Because x plus 4 is getting cancelled from both the numerator and denominator. Now you have x minus 7 here, and here you have x plus 4 times x minus 7. Now let me write this minus 1 as is in the numerator, and when you divide this part with x minus 7, what you have is x plus 4, right? What you have now is 1 times x minus 7 minus 1 times x plus 4 divided by x plus 4 times x minus 7. Let's write that. That is equal to 11 by 30. Let us simplify the numerator further. This is going to be 1 times x, 1 times minus 7, minus 1 times x, minus 1 times 4. Right? That is 7x minus 7 minus x minus 4. This minus x, this plus x I can cancel, so that I'll have minus 7 minus 4, that is equal to minus 11, right? Now you look at the denominator. The numerator has become minus 11. The denominator has to be also further simplified, right? This is x plus 4 times x minus 7. That can be written as x times x times minus 7 plus 4 times x plus 4 times minus 7. When you do that and simplify this further, the equation becomes minus 11 divided by x square minus 7x plus 4x minus 28 equal to 11 by 30. These two can be clubbed together such that it can be written as minus 11 by x square minus 3x minus 28 equal to 11 by 30, right? Now let's do the cross multiplication. You are going to multiply minus 11 and 30, that is equal to 11 times x square minus 3x minus 28, right? Let's write that. Look at this. I have 11 here, I have 11 here. Of course, here minus 11, but I can cancel both the sides by dividing with 11. So that the equation now becomes x square minus 3x minus 28 equal to minus 30, right? When you divide both the sides of the equation with number 11, you can cancel this 11, this 11, this 11 and this 11, right? When you do that, you have the equation as x square minus 3x minus 28 equal to minus 30. Let me transpose this minus 30 to the other side so that it can be written as x square minus 3x minus 28 plus 30, that is equal to 0. You can further simplify this and write it as x square minus 3x plus 2 equal to 0. This is minus 28 plus 30 equal to plus 2, right? Now we have to solve this equation. the given equation is transformed into the quadratic equation in the form of ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, right? We have to solve this equation now. For that, I'm going to use the quadratic formula, right? To solve this equation using quadratic formula, you need to know what are the values of a, b, c. For that, let me compare this with this. When you do that, you can say that a equal to 1, b equal to minus 3, and c equal to 2, right? Let's substitute these into the quadratic formula and simplify this such that you get x equal to 3 plus or minus 1 divided by 2. I can take plus sign, that is going to be one root. I can take this negative sign, then it is going to be the other root, right? The first root with plus sign can be written as x equal to 3 plus 1 by 2, that is 4 by 2 equal to 2. The second root is going to be 3 minus 1 by 2, that is equal to 2 by 2, that is equal to 1. So to answer the question, 2 and 1 are the roots of the given equation. 1 by x plus 4 minus 1 by x minus 7 equal to 11 by 30, where x is not equal to minus 4 and 7. Got it? Question number 4 is sum of the reciprocals of Rahman's ages in years 3 years ago and 5 years from now is 1 by 3. Then we are asked to find his present age. Let's repeat the problem statement once again. The sum of the reciprocals of Rahman's ages. 3 years ago, what is his age? And 5 years from now, what is his age? If you take the reciprocals and if you sum them, that is equal to 1 by 3. And we are asked to find his present age, right? So to answer this question, let me first assume that his present age is x years. If present age is x years, what is his age 3 years ago? That is going to be x minus 3 years, right? His age 3 years ago is going to be x minus 3 years. And what is his age after 5 years from now? That is going to be x plus 5 years, right? That's going to be x plus 5 years. Now what we have to do is we have to take reciprocals of these ages and sum them. Reciprocal of this one is going to be 1 by x minus 3 and this one is going to be 1 by x plus 5. When you sum them, that is equal to 1 by 3. That is the problem statement, right? You are now having a equation from this particular statement. We want to solve this. For that, first we have to simplify the LHS. That is going to be, let me take the product of these two denominators such that I can write it as denominator. Now let me write this plus 1 as is, and this denominator has to be divided with x minus 3. In that case, what you have is x plus 5, right? Now let me put plus 1 as is, and this denominator has to be divided now with x plus 5. In that case, what you will have is x minus 3, right? Let me write that. 1 times x plus 5 plus 1 times x minus 3 equal to x minus 3 times, divided by x minus 3 times x plus 5 equal to 1 by 3. Let me first simplify this numerator. 1 times x plus 1 times 5 plus 1 times x plus 1 times minus 3, right? Let me write that. That is going to be x plus 5 plus x minus 3 divided by x minus 3 times x plus 5 equal to 1 by 3, right? Now you add these 2x, you add these 2, so that you have 2x plus 2 divided by x times x, x times 5, and minus 3 times x minus 3 times 5. When you write that, that is equal to 1 by 3. Now simplify this. This is x square, this is 5x, this is minus 3x, this is minus 15, right? When you simplify it, the equation now becomes 2x plus 2 divided by x square plus 5x minus 3x minus 15 equal to 1 by 3. These two can be clubbed together. right? Plus 5x minus 3x. When you do that, the equation now becomes 2x plus 2 divided by x square plus 2x minus 15 equal to 1 by 3. I can take the cross multiplication now so that the equation becomes 3 times 2x plus 2 equal to 1 times x square plus 2x minus 15, right? This can be further simplified and written as x square plus 2x minus 15 equal to 3 times 2x, that is 6x, plus 3 times 2, that is 6. Now let me transpose this 6x and this plus 6 to the other side. When you do that, the equation becomes x square plus 2x minus 6x minus 15 minus 6 equal to 0. These two can be clubbed and these two can be clubbed, so that the equation now becomes x square minus 4x minus 21 equal to 0. Right? This is a quadratic equation because it is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. We have to solve this equation to get the value of x, that is the age of present age of Rahman, right? Let's do that. Let's solve this equation using the quadratic formula. To obtain the value of the x using quadratic formula, we have to know what is the value of a, b, and c. What are the values of a, b, c, right? A equal to 1, b equal to minus 4, and c equal to minus 21. Let's write that. When you substitute these values into quadratic formula, x can be written as minus of b minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? Let's simplify this further so that I can write this minus times minus 4 as plus 4 plus or minus square root of minus 4 square is 16 minus 4 times 1 times minus 21 is going to be plus 84 divided by 2 times 1 is 2, right? We can further simplify this and write it as 4 plus or minus square root of 100 divided by 2. Square root of 100 is 10, right? That's why we have now 4 plus or minus 10 divided by 2 as the value of x. When I consider this positive sign, the x is going to be 4 plus 10 divided by 2, that is 14 by 2, that is equal to 7, right? When I consider the negative sign, the x is going to be 4 minus 10 divided by 2, that is minus 6 by 2 equal to minus 3. Now you have two numbers, two values of x, 7 and minus 3. What x represents? The present age of Rahman, right? The present age of Rahman cannot be a negative number. It has to be a positive number. That's why we say that the present age of Rahman is 7 years. Got it? Question number 5 is, in a class test, the sum of Maulika's marks in mathematics and English is 30. You look at this. Sum of the marks in mathematics and English is 30. If she got 2 marks more in the mathematics and 3 marks less in the English, the product of her marks would have been 210. Find her marks in the two subjects. You are given two statements here. The first statement says that sum of Maulika's marks in mathematics and English is 30. If she got 2 marks more in mathematics and 3 marks less in English, the product of her marks would have been 210. Find her marks in these two subjects, right? To begin with, let me assume that marks she got in mathematics is x, right? If mathematics is x, mathematics plus English equal to 30, right? Maths plus English equal to 30, and we already said that maths equal to x plus English equal to 30. It means the mark she could have gotten in English is 30 minus x, right? If maths is x, English is going to be 30 minus x because their sum is 30. Got it? Now let's look at the second statement. The first statement we have converted them. We assumed the mathematics score has as X. That's why English score is going to be 30 minus X. Now, when you go to the second statement, if she got 2 marks more in mathematics, then what it is going to be? Instead of X, it is going to be X plus 2, right? And the 3 marks less in English. It means it is going to be 30 minus X minus 3, right? 3 marks less than what she had gotten here. When you simplify this, it can be written as 27 minus X. The product of these 2 marks is 210, right? When you take the product of these two, that is going to be equal to 210. X plus 2 times 27 minus X equal to 210. This is the equation corresponding to the second statement, right? We have to solve this equation. For that, first let me rearrange this equation in the form of ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, right? For that, you can start multiplying x times 27, x times minus x, plus 2 times 27, 2 times minus x, that is equal to 210, right? Simplify this. This is 27x, this is minus x square, this is 54, and this is minus 2x, that is equal to 210. Now look at this. I have minus 2x here plus 27x here. Let me club these two and even bring this 210 to the other side so that it becomes minus 210. The equation now becomes x square plus 27 minus 2x plus 54 minus 210 equal to 0. When you simplify this, you can write it as minus x square plus 25x minus 156 equal to 0. This is the equation we have to now solve. Let's solve this equation using the quadratic formula. For that, we have to find what are the values of a, b, and c, right? A is going to be minus 1, b equal to 25, and c equal to minus 156, right? Let's substitute these into the quadratic formula such that I can write it as minus b, that is minus 25, plus or minus square root of b square, that is 25 square, minus 4 times minus 1, that is a, times c, that is minus 156, divided by 2a, that is 2 times minus 1, right? You can further simplify this such that I can write it as minus 25 plus or minus square root of 625, that is 25 square, minus 4 times minus 1, that is plus 4, plus 4 times 156, that is minus 624, right? You have 625 minus 624 under root. That can be written as root 1. So what you have now is minus 25 plus or minus root 1 divided by minus 2. That can be written as minus 25 plus or minus 1 divided by minus 2, because square root of 1 is plus or minus 1. Now I can get two values for x. The first value is x equal to minus 25 plus 1 divided by 2, that is minus 24 divided by minus 2. I can cancel these two minus signs so that 24 by 2 is going to be equal to 12. In the second case, it is going to be minus 25 minus 1 divided by minus 2, that is minus 26 divided by minus 2. I can cancel these two minus signs, and this is 13 times 2 equal to 26. That's why x is going to be 13, right? So we have now the value of x that is equal to 12 and 13. Let me consider x equal to 12 means the marks in maths is going to be 12, right? Marks in English are going to be 30 minus 12, that is equal to 18. This is when you have marks in mathematics equal to 12. The value of x is chosen as 12. But you can choose even 13 also, right? In earlier cases, sometimes we were getting minus signs for A's, minus sign for marks and things like that. That's why we were not having any issue. But here, you got both the numbers as positive numbers, right? I can assume Or I can say that marks in maths is going to be x equal to 13 also. In that case, English marks is going to be 30 minus 13, that is equal to 17. So you have two solutions for this. One is 12 and 18, other is 13 and 17, right? Question number 6 is the diagonal of a rectangular field is 60 meters more than the shorter side. If the longer side is 30 meters more than the shorter side, find the sides of the field. We're asked to find sides of the rectangle. Two sides of the rectangle, that is length and width. In this particular case, they are called, width is called shorter side and length is called longer side, right? And the information given here is that the diagonal of the rectangle field is 60 meters more than the shorter side, right? To begin with, if I know the value of shorter side, I can get the value of longer side, that is 30 meters more than shorter side, right? And even diagonal, that is 60 meters more than shorter side. We can get the value of even diagonal also. But we are asked to only find the values of lengths of the sides of the field, right? To begin with, let me assume that the length of the shorter side is x meters. This is x meters, right? The longer side is x plus 30 meters, because longer side is 30 meters more than the shorter side, right? It is going to be x plus 30. And the diagonal of the field is x plus 60, because it is 60 meters more than the shorter side, right? Now, look at this. If you consider the lower half part of the picture, it is a right angle triangle, right? The side opposite to the right angle is called hypotenuse. It means x plus 60 is hypotenuse, right? Now, you know, I have two sides of the right angle triangle and even hypotenuse of the triangle, right angle triangle, right? In this particular case, we can make use of Pythagoras theorem. It says that square of hypotenuse is equal to square of the base and square of the altitude of the right angle triangle, right? In this particular case, the hypotenuse is x plus 60, right? And base is x plus 30 and altitude is x, right? Let's substitute these such that I can write the equation as x plus 60 whole square equal to x plus 30 whole square plus x square. Let's first expand these. X plus 60 whole square can be written as x square plus 2 times 60 times x plus 60 square. We have used a plus b whole square formula. A square plus 2ab. This is b 60 and a is x, and then plus b square. So you can now write it as x square plus 120x plus 60 square equal to 3600, right? Now let me expand x plus 30 whole square using the same formula, a plus b whole square, so that I can write it as x square plus 2 times x times 30 plus 30 square, right? That is equal to x square plus 60x plus 900. Let's substitute these two back into the equation such that the equation becomes x square plus 120x plus 3600 equal to x square plus 60x plus 900 plus x square, right? Now let's transpose all these terms to the other side, so that the equation now becomes x square minus x square minus x square. This is first minus x square and this is going to be second minus x square, right? Plus 120x. Now I have here 60x, that becomes minus 60x, plus 3600. This 900 becomes minus 900, right? Now when you simplify this further, you can write it as minus x square plus 60x plus 2700 equal to 0, right? This is the equation we have to solve. To solve this equation, we are going to make use of quadratic formula that is given as x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? So we have to first find what are the values of a, b and c. A is going to be minus 1 and B is going to be plus 60 and C is going to be 2700, right? Let's write that and substitute them into the quadratic formula such that x can be written as minus b plus square root of b square plus or minus square root of b square, that is 60 square, minus 4 times a, that is minus 1, and c, that is 2700, divided by 2 times a, that is minus 1, right? You can further simplify this and write it as minus 60 plus or minus 60 square is 3600, and this minus 4 times minus 1 times 2700 is going to be 10,800, and 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. This can be further simplified and written as minus 60 plus or minus square root of 14,400 divided by minus 2. We know square root of 144 is 12, right? Square root of 144 times 100 is going to be 120. That's why I have written here minus 60 plus or minus 120 divided by minus 2, right? I can take plus sign here into consideration, then I'll have one value of x. If I take minus sign, the value of x is going to be another number, right? Let's get the values of x. X equal to minus 60 plus 120 divided by minus 2, that is going to be 60 divided by minus 2, that is minus 30, right? This is a negative number. Now when I take minus sign, x is going to be minus 60 minus 120 divided by minus 2, right? That is going to be minus 180 divided by minus 2. I can cancel these two minus signs so that it becomes just plus 90. You have two values for x, one is minus 30 and other is 90, right? So these are the roots of the given quadratic equation. Now look at this. We said that x is the length of short side of the rectangle. Length of rectangle cannot be a negative number, right? For that reason, we say that length of the short side, that is 90 meters. Length of the long side is going to be x plus 30, that is 90 plus 30, that is equal to 120 meters. You got the answer? Length of the short side or width of the rectangle is 90 meters and length of the long side or length of the rectangle is 120 meters. Got it? Question number 7 is the difference of squares of two numbers is 180. The square of the smaller number is 8 times the larger number. Find the two numbers, right? It has two statements. The first statement says that the difference of squares of two numbers is 180. It means if you have two numbers, the difference of their squares is 180, right? The second statement says that the square of the smaller number is 8 times the larger number. If you take square of the smaller number, it is going to be equal to 8 times the larger number. These are the two statements given and we are asked to find those two numbers, right? Let me assume that the larger number as x. Of course, you can assume the smaller number to be x. You can solve that. But for time being, let's assume that larger number is x. If larger number is x, what is the smaller number? For that, we are going to make use of this statement. Square of the smaller number is 8 times the larger number. It means square of the smaller number is 8 times x, right? If square of the smaller number is 8x, what is the smaller number? Smaller number is going to be square root of 8x, right? Now you see, you have assumed the larger number to be x and we got the smaller number to be square root of 8x using the second statement given here, right? Now let's go to the first statement. It says that the difference of squares of these two numbers is 180. It means if you square the larger number and if you square the smaller number, the difference between them is 180. Let's write that. The difference of squares of the two numbers is 180. Square of larger number is x square and square of smaller number is 8x, right? Because here you have root 8x. When you square it, it is going to become 8x, right? When you square it, it is going to be 8x. Now x square minus 8x equal to 180. Let me rearrange this equation such that I can write it as x square minus 8x minus 180 equal to 0. This is the quadratic equation, right? By solving this, we'll get the value of x, that is the larger number. Once you know the larger number, you can get the smaller number using this, right? Let's find the value of x using the quadratic formula. For that, we have to say what are the values of a, b, and c, right? A is going to be 1 and b is going to be minus 8 and c is going to be minus 180. Let's write that. Now let's substitute these numbers into the quadratic formula such that I can write x equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2 times a, right? Now let's simplify this further so that I can write it as 8 plus or minus square root of 64 plus 720 divided by 2, right? That can be further written as 8 plus square root of 784 divided by 2, and we know that square root of 784 is 28. So now you have x equal to 8 plus or minus 28 divided by 2, right? Let's assume the value of x. Let's get the value of x when you consider the positive sign. X equal to 8 plus 28 divided by 2, that is 36 by 2, that is equal to 18, right? Now let me take the negative sign so that x can be written as 8 minus 28 divided by 2, that is minus 20 by 2, that is equal to minus 10. Now you have two values for x, 18 and minus 10, right? Now let me say that the larger number is 18. If larger number is 18, what is the smaller number? Smaller number is square root of 8 times the larger number, right? Square root of 8x. So square root of 8 times 18, that is square root of 144, that is equal to 12. So the larger number is 18 and smaller number is 12. Got it? Question number 8 is, a train travels 360 kilometers at a uniform speed. If the speed had been 5 kilometers per hour more, it would have taken 1 hour less for the same journey. Find the speed of the train. The first statement says that train travels 360 kilometers at uniform speed, meaning the distance covered by the train is 360 kilometers, right? If the speed had been 5 kilometers per hour more, it would have taken 1 hour less for the same journey. Meaning, to cover the same 360 kilometers distance, it could have taken 1 hour less compared to the earlier uniform speed. Now we are asked to find what is the speed of the train, meaning what is the uniform speed of the train in the beginning. So now let's say that the uniform speed is x kilometers per hour. I am assuming initial case, in the case 1, it is said that the uniform speed, it has gone with uniform speed, the train has gone with uniform speed and covered 360 kilometers, right? That particular speed, I am assuming it to be x kilometers per hour. Now let's go to the second statement. If the speed had been 5 kilometers per hour more, it means the speed is going to be x plus 5 kilometers per hour, right? In the first case, when you assume the speed to be x kilometers per hour, the time taken for traveling is going to be distance divided by speed, right? Distance is 360 kilometers and speed is x. So time taken for traveling 360 kilometers in the initial case is 360 by x. In the second case, when the speed had been 5 kilometers per hour more, the time taken is going to be 360 divided by x plus 5 hours. The difference between these two timings is 1 hour, right? That's what it is said, that it could have taken 1 hour less. In this case, it had taken 1 hour extra compared to the second case, right? So the difference is 1 hour. It means I can write the equation as 360 by x. This is original case, time taken for the original case, minus time taken for the new case, that is equal to 1 hour, right? We have to simplify this equation. For that, let me first simplify the LHS. The denominator of the LHS can be written as x times x plus 5, right? Now let me write this 360 as is. When you divide this x times x plus 5 with this x, what you have is x plus 5, right? Now let me write this 360 minus 360 as is and divide this x times x plus 5 with this x plus 5. When I do that, I'm going to get x. Now let me write this. Now we can simplify. This is 360 times x plus 360 times 5 minus 360 times x, right? Divided by x times x times, sorry, plus x times 5. When you do that and simplify it, the equation you have is 1800 divided by x square plus 5x equal to 1. Now I can write this as 1 by 1. We can take the cross multiplication. When you do this, the equation becomes x square plus 5x equal to 1800, right? X square plus 5x equal to 1800 can be written as x square plus 5x minus 1800 equal to 0. This is the equation we have to solve now to get the value of x. If you know the value of x, it means you know the speed of the train, right? Let's get that. For that, we are going to make use of quadratic formula. Okay. In this particular case, a is going to be 1, b is going to be 5, and c is going to be minus 1800, right? Let's substitute them into the quadratic formula so that x can be written as minus 5 plus or minus square root of 5 square minus 4 times 1 times minus 1800 divided by 2 times 1, right? That is going to be equal to minus 5 plus or minus this 5 square is 25 plus 7200. This 7200 is minus 4 times minus 1800, right? That is plus 7200. 2 times 1 is 2. Now let's simplify this further such that I can write it as minus 5 plus or minus square root of 7225 divided by 2, right? That is equal to minus 5 plus or minus 85 divided by 2. Square root of 7225 is 85. Now I can write x as minus 5 plus 85 by 2, that is 80 by 2 equal to 40. X equal to 40 is one value, and x equal to minus 5 minus 85 by 2, that is equal to minus 90 by 2, that is equal to minus 45. You have now x values, one positive number that is 40 and the negative number that is minus 45, right? Speed of the train, x cannot be a negative number, right? That's why we say that speed of the train x equal to 40 kilometers per hour. Got it? Question number 9 is, two water taps together can fill a tank in 9 3/8 hours. The tap of larger diameter takes 10 hours less than the smaller one to fill the tank separately. Find the time in which each tap can separately fill the tank. You're given two statements here. The first statement says that two water taps together can fill the tank in 9 3/8 hours. This is one statement. And the next statement says that tap of larger diameter takes 10 hours less than smaller one to fill the tank separately. Meaning, if you have a smaller tap of smaller diameter, it takes, let's say, some time to fill the tank fully. The same tank, tap of larger diameter is going to take 10 hours less than the time taken by the smaller one. This is the second statement. Now we are asked to find the time in which each tap can separately fill the tank. In this problem statement, all the things they were talked about are time, right? Here it is 9 3 by 8 hours is the time, and here 10 hours less than 10 hours is the time, and the time taken for smaller one to fill the tank, right? Let me assume that the tap of smaller diameter fills the tank in X hours. I'm assuming the time taken by the smaller diameter, tap of smaller diameter is X hours. The tap of larger diameter is going to fill the same tank in X minus 10 hours, right? That is what this statement says. 10 hours less than the smaller one. Now you got two things. One is the smaller one is going to fill the tank in X hours. The larger diameter tap is going to take X minus 10 hours to fill the tank. When both of them put to the use together, it is going to fill that both of them together are going to take 9 3 by 8, that can be written as 75 by 8 hours, right? But interestingly, when you look at these timings, there is no relation you can establish between these timings. One tap of smaller diameter is taking X hours, the second tap of larger diameter is taking X minus 10 hours, and when they are used together, they are going to take 75 by 8 hours, right? But you can't establish some relation exactly, some useful relation between these three statements. What we are going to do now is, let's find what is the portion of tank filled by a smaller tap of smaller diameter in 1 hour. It is going to take X hours to fill the whole tank, right? The portion of tank it is going to fill in 1 hour is going to be 1 by X, right? In the second case, the portion of tank filled by the tap of larger diameter in 1 hour is going to be 1 by X minus 10, right? Now, these two taps are working together, for example. Then the portion of the tank filled by these two taps put together is going to be sum of these two, right? That let's find what is it. Here we said that two water taps put together can fill tank in 75 by 8 hours, right? The portion of tank filled by two taps together in 1 hour is going to be 1 divided by 75 by 8. That can be written as 8 by 75, right? Now, as you see here, tap 1 is running. That can fill 1 by X portion of tank. Tap 2 is running. It can fill 1 by X minus 10 portion of the tank. If they are two together are running, they are going to fill 8 by 75 portion of the tank, right? So this can be related. When these two things are working together, that is going to fill this much portion, right? That's why I have written 1 by X plus 1 by X minus 10 equal to 8 by 75. We have to simplify this equation. For that, let me write the LHS as shown here. X times X minus 10, right? Now this divided by this X is going to be X minus 10 plus 1. This divided by this is going to be X, right? What you have now is 1 times X minus 10 plus 1 times X divided by X times X minus 10. Let's simplify the numerator. That is going to be X minus 10 plus X. The denominator is going to be X square minus 10X, right? That is going to be equal to 8 by 75. This is X plus X. 2X minus 10 divided by X square minus 10X equal to 8 by 75. Now, if you cross multiply these two, what you have is 8 times X square minus 10X equal to 75 times 2X minus 10, right? This is 2X minus 10, the numerator. Let's simplify this further such that I can write it as 8x square minus 80x equal to 150x minus 750, right? Let us transpose these terms to the other side so that I can write the equation as 8x square minus 230x plus 750 equal to 0. This equation we have to solve to find what is the value of x. X is the time required for the tap of smaller diameter to fill the tank, right? Once you know that, you know x minus 10 value also, right? Let's solve this equation using quadratic formula, right? To do that, we have to find what are the values of a, b, and c. When you compare the given equation with ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0, you say that a equal to 8, b equal to minus 230, and c equal to 750, right? Let's substitute them into the quadratic formula and simplify such that you get x equal to 230 plus or minus 170 divided by 16, right? So I can consider the plus sign so that x becomes 230 plus 170 divided by 16, that is 400 divided by 16, that is equal to 25. X equal to 25 is one value, and x equal to 230 minus 170 divided by 16, that is equal to 60 divided by 16, that is 15 by 4. Now you can take any of these two values, right? Let me take x equal to 25, meaning the tap of smaller diameter fills the tank in 25 hours, right? So that the tap of larger diameter is going to fill the tank in x minus 10, that is equal to 25 minus 10 equal to 15 hours, right? One is taking 25 hours, other is taking 15 hours, right? For example, if you consider my 15 by 4 as the value of x, 15 by 4 minus 10 is going to be a negative number. For that reason, we are not considering this. You can give it a try and see. Tap of smaller diameter is going to take 25 hours and tap of larger diameter is going to take 15 hours. Got it? Question number 10 is, an express train takes 1 hour less than a passenger train to travel 132 kilometers between Mysore and Bangalore, without taking into consideration the time they stop at intermediate stations. If the average speed of the express train is 11 kilometers per hour, more than that of passenger train, find the average speed of these two trains, right? Here we are given two statements. It says that the first statement says that express train takes 1 hour less than the passenger train to cover 132 kilometers. 1 hour less than the passenger train to cover 132 kilometers. The second statement says that the average speed of express train is 11 kilometers per hour more than the passenger train. Look at this. The first statement is talking about time and second statement is talking about speed. We're asked to find the average speed of the two trains, right? To begin with, let me assume that the passenger train takes x hours. Look at the first statement. It is talking about times, right? For that reason, I am assuming the passenger train is taking x hours. If passenger train is taking x hours, the express train is going to take x minus 1 hours, right? To cover the same distance, 132 kilometers, right? We have made use of the first statement now. The second statement is talking about the average speed of express train is 11 kilometers per hour more than the passenger train. It means what is the speed of the passenger train we have to know. What is the speed of express train we have to know. The difference between them is given here, right? Express train is running 11 kilometers per hour faster than the passenger train. So at what speed the first passenger train is going to travel? The distance covered is 132 kilometers, right? And time taken is x hours. The speed is distance by time, right? So let me write that speed of the passenger train is 132 divided by x. right? In the similar manner, I can write what is the speed of express train. Express train is also covering the same distance, but in the time of x minus 1 hours, right? It means the speed of the express train is going to be 132 divided by x minus 1 hour, right? Now, look at this statement. The average speed of express train is 11 kilometers per hour more than the passenger train speed. It means the speed of express train is equal to speed of passenger train plus 11, right? Let me write that. 132 by x minus 1 equal to 132 by x plus 11, right? You can write this equation as 132 by x minus 1 minus 132 by x equal to 11, right? I have transposed this 132 by 11 x to the other side. Now let us simplify this LHS of this equation, right? You can write this as x minus 1 times x, right? Now the numerator is going to be 132 times x plus 132 times x minus 1, right? The denominator, this and this, when you divide this with this one, you're going to get x. That's what I have written here. And in this particular case, when you divide this particular quantity with x, you're going to get x minus 1. That is what I have written here, right? Let's make use of this and simplify the equation. It can be written as 132x minus 132x plus 132 divided by x square minus x equal to 11, right? I can cancel these two. Now it is going to be 132 divided by x square minus x equal to 11. You can take the cross multiplication of that so that the equation becomes 11 times x square minus x equal to 132, right? Now let me expand this and transpose 132 to the other side such that it becomes 11x square minus 11x minus 132 equal to 0. Look at this. I have 11 here. I have 11 here. Here also I can take 11 as the quotient or the common factor. When you do that, the equation becomes x square minus x minus 12 equal to 0. You divide every part, every term of the equation with 11. When you do that, you get x square minus x minus 12 equal to 0 as the equation. We have to solve this equation to get the value of x. That is the time taken by the passenger train. Once you know that, you know express train, how much time it is going to take, right? Once you know this, you know what are the values of speeds of these two trains, right? Let's solve this with the help of quadratic formula. For that, I have to say what are the values of a, b, c, right? A is 1, b is minus 1, and c is minus 12. When you substitute them and simplify, x is going to be equal to 1 plus or minus 7 by 2. Let me consider the positive sign here so that I can write x equal to 1 plus 7 by 2, that is equal to 8 by 2, that is equal to 4. X equal to 4 is one root. X equal to 1 minus 7 by 2, that is minus 6 by 2, that is equal to minus 3. We said that x is the time, right? Time cannot be a negative number. For that reason, we are going to drop this. We say that the time required for the passenger train is 4 hours, right? The speed of the passenger train is going to be 132 by x, that is 132 by 4, that is equal to 33 kilometers per hour. You got now speed of the passenger train. What is the speed of express train? We said that speed of express train is 11 kilometers per hour more than the speed of the passenger train. So speed of the express train is going to be 33 plus 11, that is equal to 44 kilometers per hour. Got it? Question number 11 is, sum of the areas of two squares is 468 meters square. The difference of their perimeters is 24 meter. Find the sides of two squares. The two statements given here are talking about two different squares. Squares of two different sizes, right? Sum of the areas of two squares is given. That is first statement, 468 meters square. The difference of their perimeters is also given, that is 24 meters. We are asked to find now the size of these squares, right? To begin with, let me assume that one of the squares is of side length equal to x meters, right? Area is going to be x square, right? That is equal to 468, sorry, area is going to be x square, and perimeter is going to be 4 times x, right? Area, if area is x square, meaning if side length is x, area is going to be x square and perimeter is going to be 4x, right? Now let me say that other square is of side length y meters. In that case, area of this particular square is going to be y square and perimeter is going to be 4y, right? Now look at the first statement. It says that when you add these two areas, it is going to be equal to 468, and when you take the difference between these two, that is equal to 24, right? Let's write those. Sum of the areas is 468 meters square. It means I can write x square plus y square equal to 468, right? The second one is the difference in the perimeters is 24 meters. It means 4x minus 4y equal to 24. I can write it as 4 times x minus y equal to 24, right? If I take 4 to the other side, x minus y is going to be 24 by 4, that is equal to 6. Now let me rearrange this equation such that I can write x equal to y plus 6. X minus y equal to 6. It means I can write it as x equal to y plus 6, right? Now I have one relation between x and y, that is x square plus y square equal to 468, and other relation x equal to y plus 6, right? Let us substitute x equal to y plus 6 into this equation. When you do that, x square is going to be y plus 6 whole square plus y square is written as is, that is equal to 468, right? Let's expand y plus 6 whole square using a plus b whole square formula, so that I can write it as y square plus 12y plus 36 plus y square equal to 468, right? Now I can rearrange this equation such that y square plus y square becomes 2y square, 12y is written as is, 36 is written as is, and this 468, when it comes to this side, it becomes minus 468, that is equal to 0. Let us simplify this further and write it as 2y square plus 12y minus 432 equal to 0, right? This equation can be written as 2 times y square plus 6y minus 216 equal to 0, right? 2 is, because all these are even numbers, I can take 2 as the common factor out. Now let me divide these 2, meaning divide the equation both the sides with number 2, so that the equation becomes y square plus 6y plus 216 minus 216 equal to 0. This we have to solve. Once you solve this, what you get? You get the side length of the second square. Once you know the side length of second square, you can get the side length of first square using this equation, right? Let's solve this equation now with the help of quadratic formula. For that, I have to say what are the values of a, b, c. A is going to be 1, b is going to be 6, and c is going to be minus 216, right? When you substitute them, y is going to be equal to minus b plus square root of b square minus 4a times c divided by 2 times a. You simplify this further such that you get y equal to minus 6 plus or minus 30 divided by 2. Let me consider this plus sign so that I can write y equal to minus 6 plus 30 divided by 2, that is 24 by 2, that is equal to 12. Y equal to 12 is one answer we have. And y equal to minus 6 minus 30 by 2, that is minus 36 by 2, that is minus 18. Now you see, we have to choose one of these. We know that side length cannot be a negative number. For that reason, you can drop this and you take y equal to 12. That is the side length of one square, right? It, you can call it the second square or the first square, doesn't matter. It is the side length of one of the squares is y equal to 12 meters. What is the side length of second square? That is, we're going to make use of this equation that says that it is 12 plus 6, that is equal to 18 meters. Got it? You have one square of side length 12 meters and other square of side length 18 meters, right? Question number 12 is a ball is thrown vertically upward from the top of a building 96 feet tall with an initial velocity 80 meters per second. The distance s of the ball from the ground after t seconds is s equal to 96 plus 80t minus 16t square. After how many seconds does the ball strike the ground? This is the question given. Look at this equation. S equal to 96 plus 80t minus 16t square is telling you what is the distance s of the ball from the ground after t seconds. Right? Let's say that the distance from the ground to the ball is s meters. Okay? Distance from the ground changes with time t seconds as s equal to 96 plus 80t minus 16t square. These are the two statements given. I say that the distance is x meters and the relation with respect to t for s is given here, right? Now the problem statement says that we have to find after how many seconds does the ball strike the ground. When the ball strikes the ground, the distance between the ball and ground is 0, right? We have denoted distance using s. It means s equal to 0. If s equal to 0, the equation is going to be 96 plus 80t minus 16t square equal to 0, right? This is the equation. It is a quadratic equation. We have to solve this equation to get the value of t at which the ball strikes the ground, right? Let me write this equation as minus 16t square plus 80t plus 96 equal to 0, right? I can take minus 16 as the common factor out so that it becomes t square minus 5t minus 6 equal to 0. Let me divide both the sides with minus 16 so that the equation becomes t square minus 5t minus 6 equal to 0. We have to solve this equation. For that, we are going to make use of quadratic formula, right? So to solve this equation, we have to know what are the values of a, b, c. A is going to be 1, b is going to be minus 5, and c is going to be minus 6. Let's substitute them for the quadratic formula so that I can write it as minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. Right? When you simplify this, you get it as 5 plus or minus 7 divided by 2. Right? So t can be 5 plus 7 by 2, that is equal to 12 by 2, that is equal to 6. T can be 6. Or t can be minus 2 by 2, that is equal to minus 1. What is t? We said t is the time at which the ball is striking the ground. Time cannot be a negative number, right? That's why this is not going to be the answer. Time is going to be 6 seconds. Time required for the ball to strike the ground is t equal to 6 seconds. Got it? Question number 13 is, if a polygon of n sides has 1 by 2 times n by n minus 3 diagonals, how many sides will a polygon having 65 diagonals? Is there a polygon with 50 diagonals? These are the two questions asked. If you have a polygon of n sides, it is going to have half n times n minus 3 diagonals. Now the first question is, how many sides will the polygon be having 65 diagonals? Second one is there a polygon with 50 diagonals? Let's look at the first statement. Polygon of n sides has what 1 by 2 times n minus 3 diagonals. You can take a look at square. It has got 4 sides. How many diagonals? You substitute n equal to 4 and see. You can look at for pentagon. You can look at for hexagon, like that, right? This formula holds true for all the polygons. Now, when you have such a scenario, n sides, n times n minus 3 divided by 2 diagonals. The first one where 65 diagonals are given, right? We want to find how many sides. Let me say that the number of diagonals equal to 65. It means half times n minus 3 equal to 65, right? We have to find the value of n. That gives you the number of sides. Let me write this equation by taking this 2 to the other side. I can write it as n times n minus 3 equal to 2 times 65. That can be written as n square minus 3n equal to 130, right? It can be further rearranged and written as n square minus 3n minus 130 equal to 0. This is the equation we have to solve. When you want to solve, we can make use of any of the methods we know. Let's use quadratic formula. When you use quadratic formula, we have to first say what are the values of a, b, c, right? A equal to 1, it is here. B equal to minus 3 and c equal to minus 130. When you substitute these into the quadratic formula, n is going to be equal to 3 plus or minus 23 divided by 2. N equal to 3 plus or minus 23 divided by 2. If I take plus sign into consideration, then I can write n equal to 3 plus 23 divided by 2, that is 26 by 2, that is equal to 13, right? N equal to 13 is one answer. The other answer is going to be n equal to 3 minus 23 divided by 2, that is minus 20 by 2, that is minus 10. The number of sides cannot be a negative number. That's why n equal to 13 is going to be the answer, right? It means we have to say that the number of sides of polygon having 65 diagonals is 13. Meaning if you construct a polygon of 13 sides, it is going to have 65 diagonals. Got it? Now let's look at the second part of the problem statement. Is there a polygon with 50 diagonals? Now let me write the equation as half n times n minus 3 equal to 50. We try to solve this equation. Okay, when you solve this equation, if you get the real roots, that is one possibility. You may not get also. If you get real roots, then you say that, okay, there is a chance. Then you will see whether you are getting integer roots or not. Real roots are not sufficient. You have to get integer roots, right? The number of sides cannot be some irrational number, right? It has to be an integer. Not only integer, it has to be a positive integer, right? Let's take a look at that first. Let's first transform this particular equation into a quadratic equation. I'm taking this 2 to the other side so that I can write it as n times n minus 3 equal to 2 times 50. That can be written as n square minus 3n equal to 100. That can also be written as n square minus 3n minus 100 equal to 0. Right? A equal to 1, b equal to minus 3 and c equal to minus 100. What is b square minus 4ac? We have to find the value of b square minus 4ac because we want to see whether you are going to get real roots or not. Right? So b square minus 4ac is going to be minus 3 whole square minus 4 times 1 times minus 100. When you simplify this, it is going to be 409. It is a positive number, right? B square minus 4ac is greater than 0. It means it will have two distinct real roots. Now the question is, what are these real roots? Are they positive integers or not? Are we having at least one positive integer? If we have one positive integer, then we can say that the polygon with 50 diagonals is possible. If not, then we say that a polygon with 50 diagonals is not possible. Right? Let's now find the roots of this particular equation. Let's use quadratic formula only here also. So n can be written as minus b, b is minus 3, plus or minus square root of b square minus 4a, a equal to 1, times c, that is minus 100, divided by 2 times 1, right? 2 times a. Simplify this. What you get is 3 plus or minus square root of 409 divided by 2. Square root of 409 is not an integer, right? So the n you are getting is sort of an irrational number. Or in other words, you can say that since square root of 409 is not an integer, that's why we say that roots of n square minus 3n minus 100 equal to 0 are not integers. If the roots are not integers, that sides cannot be some arbitrary number, right? They have to be positive integers. That's why we say that no polygon with 50 diagonals exists. You try to draw a polygon which has 50 diagonals. You will not be able to draw a polygon with 50 diagonals. Got it? I hope you like the video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel Learn to Score. Thank you.